Last year, I saved over 80% of my income and I lived on less than minimum wage for the state that I live in. And this year, I'm actually on track to spend even less. And I've been living frugally for literal years now, and for me it feels sort of easy, but I know for a lot of people, they really struggle to stick to their savings goals. And this past week, Sarah in my free savings community said that she's having trouble staying motivated and that the small wins are hard to see. So I wanted to make this video to share some of the same lessons that I shared with her, because these strategies have literally saved me tens of thousands of dollars every year, but at the same time, even more importantly, it's allowed me to enjoy being more frugal. And the first thing you need to understand if you're having trouble staying motivated and sticking to your savings goals is that it's really not your fault. It's really how our brains are hardwired. Our brains are really good at considering short-term trade-offs, but they're not very good. They're really not designed to think about long-term decision making. And that's because through thousands of years of evolution, our ancestors really didn't have to consider long-term risks like a retirement. The concept of retirement didn't even really exist until relatively recently in the big scheme of things. So this idea of saving for decades in order to have financial freedom, and also the concept of like getting out of debt. Debt has really only been a relatively modern invention. So the idea of how compounding returns can make you much, much wealthier, and the idea of how debt can make you much, much poorer for the same reason as the debt compounds, these are relatively new things that we've had to consider. So our brains just do not do a good job of doing the math, because it's easy to think about saving $10 per day, but that feels so small. It's very difficult for us to imagine how that $10 per day can turn into millions of dollars over a long period of time. So to overcome this, there is a couple of things you can do. And the first thing, which is the first thing that I shared with Sarah, is to track your progress. Because the thing about saving money is that it's kind of like going to the gym. You are not going to see immediate results as you make changes to how you spend your money and how you save your money. Even a few $100s per month can really feel like margin of error for a lot of people. And different expenses will come up that change your expenses from month to month. So even if on average you're spending $100 to $200 less, it might not feel like you're making a big change. So it's the same thing as when you go to the gym and you start working out. You are going to get stronger, you will have some gains, but you're really not going to see them in the mirror immediately. You're not going to recognize them. Even though they are happening, they're just so small that it doesn't feel that different from one day to the next day. So this is why weight loss programs make you take a photo on day one, because you need something to compare yourself to. If you don't have a starting point that you can compare your current situation to, then you're not going to feel like you've made any progress from where you started. So the exact same thing goes for saving money. If you don't have a good record of where you were at a different point in time, then you may make incredible changes to your life. You may really do all of the right things, but if you didn't take the time to record that journey and see where you started and where you are now, then it's very difficult to identify that you have made incredible progress. So for example, Sarah said that in just the past year, she's paid off over $20,000 of credit card debt. And that is extremely impressive. That's not a small win. That is a very big win. But I suspect that that was paid off in very small increments. So each time that debt went down, that probably felt like a small win. But over time, that is a huge difference to your life. Many small wins over a long period of time is the exact same thing as a very, very big win. But again, if you don't track this progress, you're not going to feel that. And this is something that I'm actually trying to get better at myself right now, because even though I've been very good at tracking my expenses, I haven't actually been as good about tracking my progress. So this is something I actually just recently added to my payday routine. Every single time I get paid, I have a reminder that tells me not only to go check my pay stubs, make sure everything looks right, but I also go in and record my net worth. I check all of my different accounts, my retirement accounts, my investment accounts, my bank account, everything. If I had debt, I would check my debt balances as well. And I record that and I sum it all up so I have a measure of my net worth. This gives me that data so I can see which direction I'm headed. And I don't really need this for motivation. I'm already very motivated for some reasons I will talk about later in this video. But this can be very useful if you are trying to stay motivated. It also has lots of other benefits. It's very valuable to see how fast you are reaching your financial goals. But motivation, I think, is maybe the most beneficial thing about this. And especially, it's something you really need to do over a long period of time, because if you track your progress for just 1 month or 2, it's not going to really matter. But when you look at this over multiple years, this is when you really see the impact of your hard work. So you become more and more motivated the longer you stick with this. So commit to it for at least 1 year. After 1 year, I bet you'll feel like you're seeing some progress. And by the way, this spreadsheet that you're seeing can be downloaded for free in the video description. I made it for you. It is my gift to you. Please use it. However, this does not sync with all of your accounts. This is a manual thing. This is kind of what I use. I don't feel like I need something else. But if you're not going to do this manually and you want some other fancy features and graphs, then I do have a partnership with Monarch Money. With Monarch Money, you can connect all of your accounts and it will visualize this for you. It gives you the exact same thing. It's just a lot easier because it's not manual. That said, Monarch Money is not free. There is a free trial, but it's not free. But I told them I'm trying to help y'all save money. So on top of the 7-day free trial, they also said if you use the link I put in the description, you can get 50% off for your membership. If you do that for the 1-year plan, that's less than $1 a week. I think that is worth it if you're not going to do it manually. Again, if you want to do this manually, you can do it for free. Just download my spreadsheet. That is my gift, but I can't build you something as nice as what Monarch Money has made. So use that link in the description if you're not going to do it yourself. But tracking your expenses is really just the beginning. What really matters is what you do after you start tracking your expenses. Because the reason that I think so many people lose motivation is because reaching a big goal, like something like financial freedom or getting out of tens of thousands of dollars of debt, that can feel very far off. That's a very large goal and it's a little intimidating, or it's very intimidating. And this is why it's really important to set smaller goals and milestones that keep you motivated along your journey and to make sure you're on the right track without you always worrying about that final destination. So even for me, even though I'm on a journey to financial freedom in a very short amount of time compared to most people, even I don't focus on my final financial freedom number. I always focus on the next $50,000. For me, $50,000 is sort of that sweet spot of something that doesn't happen in just 1 month. It doesn't happen immediately every time I get paid, but it's not so far off in the future that it feels too far away and I lose my motivation. So those are sort of the steps that I track. How fast can I save my next $50,000? Something else I do all of the time is at the start of the year, I will always set a goal for how much do I want to have saved at the end of the year? How much do I want to spend during this year? How much do I want to have saved on my next birthday? These are different ways that I break up the challenge into smaller chunks. This is still roughly every 6 months to 1 year. My birthday's sort of in the middle of the year, so I have a goal for the end of the year and around the mid-year. And this keeps me way more motivated because I'm tracking this every 6 months rather than worrying about something that I know will take me literal years. And this is something that mountain climbers will actually talk about. They say, always look down at your feet, look at the next step you're about to take. Do not look at the summit. Don't look at the top of the mountain because that can feel very discouraging. It can be intimidating and that will force you to lose motivation. But if you always focus on what the next step is, then you always feel like you're doing the right thing, you're making progress, and you will get there without worrying about this thing that sort of feels far off in the future. Just make sure that the steps you're taking and the goals that you're setting are putting you on the right direction. And as long as you know that, then you can only worry about what you need to do over the next 6 months, or over the next month, or even over the next 1 week. And if you do those things every week, every month, every 6 months, every year, then you'll get to where you want to go. But my favorite strategy to stay motivated to save is to give yourself challenges. So last night I was actually talking to a couple that I work with as their accountability coach, and they really struggle with overspending right now. And they're going into a little bit more credit card debt every month. And I'm trying to help them bring that down, bring their expenses under control, and start actually saving for financial freedom, for retirement. They know that they're overspending right now, and they know that that money is going towards things they don't need to spend their money on. So something I told them is that just for the next week, pick something that you know you overspend on, and for the next week, don't spend anything on that expense category. So maybe that's coffee, maybe that's eating out, maybe that's something else. I don't know. Whatever it is, just pick one thing and try to not spend any money on it for 1 week. That's just 1 week. You can do anything for 1 week. 1 week is not a lot of time. But what this does a couple things. One, it shows you can live without that thing. You don't need to spend your money on it all of the time. Your life will be just fine if you go without it for a week. You probably won't even notice that you missed it. The other thing that this does is it obviously saves you money because you're not spending money on it for that 1 week. And these challenges are a really good way to create motivation for yourself as you're trying to achieve your financial goals, because you're focused on this fun challenge, this goal that's just 1 week long. You're trying to win a game, and there's lots of positive reinforcement if you win this game. And it builds confidence that you can spend less without dying, and it sort of flips it around so you're not feeling like you're depriving yourself of not spending that thing. You feel like you're in a competition against yourself to not spend money on that thing. This is a really powerful reframe for thinking about saving more money. And I've seen this work really, really well before. So as I said, this is my absolute favorite way to save more money because it makes it feel like something enjoyable, not like something you have to do. But again, both of these things, so setting these goals and milestones and creating these challenges, really depend on you tracking your expenses. So either download my free spreadsheet in the description or use Monarch Money if you don't want to do it manually. Either way, use one of them. Start tracking your expenses. This one is really, really important if you want to save more money and stay motivated over the long run. It's a huge reason I'm able to stay frugal and enjoy my journey of being frugal, my journey to financial freedom, because I track my expenses, I see my progress, and I'm enjoying the challenges I'm giving myself. But there's something else which can really help with staying motivated, and this is maybe one of the most important things that I ever learned about saving money. I think a lot of people feel like they aren't making progress because they compare their savings today to their savings of yesterday. And even if you save a good amount of money, you probably won't feel like there is a huge difference. Even for me, I'm saving well over 50% of every paycheck I get, but I still feel like my net worth moves relatively slowly. And even if you track your net worth, like we just talked about, then you still won't necessarily see a big gain in your net worth even as you save money. And if you're investing in the stock market, as I do, then you may even see in some months your net worth will even go down just because of the regular fluctuations of the stock market. So this can be really discouraging, and it feels like the savings you put away don't actually make any difference. Even if you put away hundreds of dollars in savings every month, that might feel like a drop in the bucket. But your savings are way more important than you think. And your small wins actually do make a massive difference. So let's go back to Sarah in my community. She had said that over the last year, she had paid off over $20,000 of credit card debt. And an average interest rate of, I'll say, around 20%, I think that's about the average for credit cards. I think it's actually a little higher than that. But that paying off of debt makes such a massive difference over the long run. Because if you had $25,000 of credit card debt, and that had a 20% interest rate, then that debt would quadruple in less than 8 years. So by paying off that debt in the course of a year, it might not feel like the net worth has really changed that much, but that actually is a huge difference because you've really saved yourself not just that $25,000 of debt, but the $100,000 of debt that might grow to over 8 years, or the $1 million of debt that could grow to if it was left completely unchecked. And this exact same thing also applies to saving, because every dollar that you save isn't just $1 that's contributing to your net worth. That might be what it looks like in the moment, but every single dollar that you save is a dollar that you can invest and that will grow over a long period of time. So if you invest $1 and you earn a 7% return for 40 years, that turns into almost $15. And if you save $1 per year, then that turns into over $200 after 40 years. And if you save $1 per month, then that turns into over $2,000 after 40 years. So if you feel like you're not making progress right now, don't look at your savings between yesterday and today. Look at the difference that those savings will make in 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now. And that is going to be a very big difference. So those small wins, putting away a couple $100s in 1 month, that might not feel like a big thing right now. It might not feel like it makes any difference to your net worth. It just looks like a drop in the bucket. But when you look 40 years out, you may have saved yourself tens of thousands of dollars, maybe over $100,000 by making that decision to save that money. And if you're in debt, especially high interest debt, the exact same thing applies with paying off that debt. Putting more money towards that debt isn't just increasing your net worth by whatever you put towards that debt. It's actually saving you potentially tens of thousands of dollars by preventing that debt from growing more. So Sarah's small wins of paying off tens of thousands of dollars of debt will literally make a life-changing difference over the course of her life. So this is how I'm able to stay so frugal over a long period of time, because I know that I'm setting myself up for my dream life if I just keep doing this. The decisions I'm making right now are making sure that I have the financial freedom that I would like to have in the future. And even when those savings feel small in the moment, I know that over a long period of time, it is going to turn into a huge difference in my net worth and how much financial security I actually have. And by tracking my net worth, which was the first thing we talked about, I know that I have been making progress, I can see that I'm on track, and I can turn saving into a fun game that keeps me motivated. And when you see the impact of your lifestyle decisions, and you know that it's putting you on track for a life that actually excites you, and one where you're not worried about more debt payments, one where you don't feel like you have to go to work just to pay the bills, you're not afraid of being laid off because you know you have the savings to cover that, those things make a massive difference in how much you enjoy and appreciate your life. And that's the kind of security and freedom I want to give myself. So I'm happy to make the decisions I am by spending less and living frugally now, because I'm extremely motivated to reach that life which I'm much, much more excited by. And I know that if I just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep doing the same things that I have been doing, then I know I will get there in my own time. And if you do the same thing, you will as well. It really is just a matter of time. You just have to stay motivated and stick with it, and you'll reach that dream life that you want. But if you do want to do this over a long period of time, then you really do need to enjoy it. So that's why you need to watch this video that's on screen right now. It will show you a month-long challenge that I undertook, which allowed me to live on very little while still enjoying it and making it a fun game for myself. It's probably my best video that I've made so far, so I hope you like it and watch it next.